Hey guys, for this video I thought I'd do a bit of a commentary on an Iron Banner match. I was playing on my own, not in a fire team, and the reason I made this video was to try and show that even when you are playing on your own or with a bunch of random players, you can still do enough to make a difference in a match on your own, regardless of what your teammates are doing. I'm not saying I single-handedly won the match for us, far from it, but I contributed enough sort of meaningful play to try and help lock down a side of the map rather than specific points. So Widow's Court is a good example of a map where this is quite easy to achieve. What I did was basically take the left side of the map as you spawn from Bravo and just try and hold this area down. Now I very rarely went on to capture points themselves, and this provides great cover, this area here. In the ruins, so I just basically tried to stay in these areas and pick off players as and when I could. It didn't matter if they started capturing points, as long as the main sort of goal of my play was to stop players taking zones completely and dominating those zones and holding them down. I felt like I could do enough single-handedly to achieve that and try and get this victory. So it can be seen as quite boring play, I'm not going to lie. I mean, sometimes you go through spells where there's no action at all, you're not really fighting people, but it really does contribute quite a lot if you can do this job well. I should also say I'm probably shooting not brilliantly with this pulse. I only use hand cannons, and I was doing the Crucible weekly bounty, so I had to use a pulse rifle. I actually really enjoyed using the Hawk, so I've never used it before. This was the first game I was really using it. But I thought it was pretty decent, and it's nice to have a gun that actually connects its bullets as opposed to Hawkmoon, which never does. Anyway, so as you can see, I'm staying in this area and I'm just trying to contribute as much as I can without really leaving this whole left side of the map. We've got C and we've got A. A lot of people would argue that you need B. That's the first thing to do, make a beeline for that and get B. And whilst I agree B's important, I think it's more important to have two zones. And if it means that A and C are a little bit easier to control, as that's the case on some maps, certainly this map, I think A and C are pretty achievable to control, then you should try and do that. So I very rarely in this gameplay will stray from this side of the map, and I just move back and forth, and maybe I'll poke my head further towards their heavy ammo in a bit over this side. I don't know whether I do that here. Just see if there's a blip on the radar, and if there is, I'll try and take someone out. This was probably the best kill I've ever done. Look at him there. Look, nothing but headshots. He was okay. And the main thing is, grab their heavy if you can, and if you need to basically chase someone or finish someone off, then do it. But as soon as you see basically one of the capture points going, as you see there with C, and now B is on its way out, I tried to get back into that area and try and just control it again and try and hold it down and keep the amount of enemy players to a minimum. Now, another tip for any sort of play on Iron Banner is when you get heavy, keep heavy. It's really tempting when you've got heavy to, what's this guy doing resing when it's a heavy, it's part of a heavy round, he's just been killed by a heavy machine gun, who knows. Anyway, I think it's really important, especially in 6v6, to keep that heavy as long as you can. If all your opponent's dead, just keep an eye on your feed in the bottom left there, and you want to basically see more blue killing red than red killing blue. And once you're pretty sure that the other team have been wiped out with heavy, it's a great chance to feel a little bit more confident and move around the map a bit freer, knowing that providing you don't get flanked or someone gets the drop on you, you can pretty much win most gun battles because your gun is, it's a heavy machine gun. You shouldn't be losing those fights. So that's what I try and do here. I try and just basically assert my position with heavy and take people out. Annoyingly, I was looking down sights quite a lot there, taking those two out, and didn't notice this guy who's about to appear over the wall and take me out. Well played him. But it's really important. It frustrates the other team. As you can see from here, I'm a big fan of going invis. I know loads of people will moan about that and say, "Oh, why did you go invis? It's such a noob move." You know what? It's one of the most powerful assets to a subclass, I think, invis. The Blade Dancer's invis. You disappear off the radar, only obviously blipping if you're sprinting. And it's so useful. I don't know why more people don't use it. Especially in trials. If you've got a team of 2 or 3 people going invis, it can be really disorientating knowing where they're coming from. Certainly with the buff to invisibility and making it harder to see that came with the Taken King, it certainly made it a much more viable solution. Anyway, again, I'm just holding this left side of the map down as best I can. I'm trying not to get too drawn out of this map. In fact, the 2 times I've died, have I died twice yet? Probably. Well, when I wandered really out of this lane, once was on that capture point inside the church, and once was just outside that church. And you really don't have to get too far into capture point to put yourself in an area where the enemy's going to know you might be and where they're going to flood to. You just hold the lanes, hold down the areas where people will approach those lanes, and it really does help. I'm by no means an amazing Crucible player, so there's probably plenty of mistakes I'm making here, plenty of things I'm doing wrong, and lots of things I could be doing better. Here, for example, I thought I was behind that wall and tried to back up and just backed up into a wall, so 3 people were able to take me out, which was not ideal. But what I would say is not that I did this on purpose, but if you are going to die, when Shaxx announces heavy is a great time to do it, because the game will respawn you hopefully near your teammates who are already surrounding the heavy. At this point I can see again C is being captured, so I try and make more of an aggressive push here, despite me just saying try and keep hold of heavy for as long as possible. I wanted to try and get down there so they couldn't dominate that side of the map and couldn't get a grip hold on it. As it turns out, I jumped and tried to take out Jackal Play, who was lagging quite a bit in this game. Not that I think that was anything to do with lag. I think I was in the air trying to shoot a heavy machine gun and he was just rooted to the ground, taking me out, so it was a very bad play from me. But you'll see a bit later there's a bit of lag from him, which was slightly annoying, but that's Iron Banner. I spawned obviously over at B there. I ignored B, I just come straight into this area again, which I'm trying to occupy. I managed to get away with a bit of evasive manoeuvre there from the guy who I think must have been in Bird's Nest taking me out. This guy just was very fortunate. I was very fortunate to shotgun him and slam him in the head. He wasn't very fortunate at all. And then I'm back in this zone again and able to just hold it down. This guy's, there you go. I thought like I should have killed him here, but, you know, before he killed me, but he was using a last word, which is, as we all know, it's got an insane TTK now at the right range. More so than heavy machine guns sometimes, but that's a separate argument. But anyway, there you go. That's basically it. Again, this isn't news to a lot of you people who are really familiar with Iron Banner and know exactly what you're doing. But for those of you who needed some tips, like the main tip from this is you don't have to sit on controls. You don't have to run madly from A to B to C, whatever you're trying to get, and you know, spawn there. Stay in that area. Dominate a lane between 2 major zones and try and hold that lane down, and it's applicable on all maps. And you know, B and Twilight Gap, for example, you can just hold that lane. You don't have to sit on the capture point. Just hold that lower and upper lane and try and stop the traffic getting through to it. And it's the same with many other maps. Anyway, I hope that helped some of you, and yeah, that's it. Bye.